And we are live. Oh my gosh.
We made it.
I know.
It is going to be the new year,
Oh my gosh.
2025.
Dude, 2024 has been wild.
It has been very unpredictable, to say the least.
Seriously. Okay, wait. First, I want to hear how Mexico was.
Oh, Mexico. I love Mexico.
Yeah?
I don't know what it is about Mexico. Maybe because I'm a phlegmatic
Okay.
and I just feel at home there. Or I don't know. I just love warm weather. I love warm weather. I love the beach. I love being by the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That also just feels like home. So
Mm.
I loved getting some vitamin D and curing my seasonal depression for a week and just spending time with ladies and being out by a resort and food.
Wait,
Lots
do
of
you get
food.
depressed in the wintertime?
I do.
You do?
I
Why?
do. A lot of my favorite hobbies are outdoor activities,
Oh.
and not that I can't do them during the winter time.
Mhm.
It's just not as convenient
Really?
when the
what
sun.
do you like to do?
I like playing volleyball, and it's
Okay, it's
freezing cold. The
Yeah.
sand's cold.
True.
And I still do it. I played all the way up until November this year,
Okay.
end of November. So like I still do it, but it's just not as
Okay. Yeah.
fun. Hiking, going to the beach.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's
you can't go into
cold.
the
When
water.
it's cold, I just want to stay home under my blankets. I don't even want to get out of bed. Like this has always been a thing for me around the winter time. It's hard for me to get out of bed because it's so cold.
Mm-hmm.
But when in the summer, I'm flying up out of
Yeah.
bed and I'm ready for my day.
Yeah. Wow. You're more adjusted than me when it comes to the summertime. I feel like I'm so opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love, it's interesting because I love the winter. Love, love, love winter. But the days are short and I don't know how I feel about that.
I hate it.
I don't necessarily like the early sunsets, but I love winter. Actually, winter's my favorite time to hike. I feel like winter's for hiking because everything is so green and so beautiful. Yeah. And then summer is when I'm like, ugh, go away, sun.
Yeah, we are polar opposites of
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, I hate the sun. I don't like to use the word hate, but
Mm-hmm.
I really dislike that the sun sets at like 4
I
p.m.
know it's hard. I know.
It's like where I get out of work, I'm like, it's black out, it's dark out,
Yeah.
and I don't want to do anything. I just want to go home and sleep.
Yeah, that part's hard.
Yeah. And then I wake up pretty early, and it's like still dark out, and I'm like, I should still be in bed.
Well, I like the sunrise time because the sunrise time is like 7 a.m. I like 7 a.m. sunrise time. I don't like having to be up for work before sunrise time, but I like sunrise time at 7. Yeah.
I think that's probably definitely for me why it's harder for me to get up in the morning, because it's like it's still dark out.
I know.
And I think just on a biological level,
Yeah.
like if we're following the patterns, normally we would probably still be sleeping.
I know. I know.
So I'm giving myself grace.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Don't like it.
Grace has been a very interesting word lately.
How so?
Yeah. Man. So I'm staffing for Grace. I think it's Grace 37 for MITT, and it's at the end of January. And oh man, like, so okay, I had resistance around a couple of factors. One factor being the captain. And I just, I don't know if it's with everything that's just been going on, like with my grandma passing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I've taken a lot on and I have resistance to like just I don't know. I just have a lot of resistance to making progress, and it's wintertime. And like wintertime is supposed to be a season of slowing down, right? Going within, being more with the darkness, like literally, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
resting. And I very much want to do that right now. Um, like I just want to hibernate like a bear
Yeah.
and go within,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be rushed. I don't want to be measured against any scale of productivity. I want none of that right now. And yet, I've made commitments that are are the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I made these commitments like, previous to just the month of December and my grandma's passing, right? So I've been struggling with like sticking with them. Do I want to stick with them? Um and staffing grace has definitely been one of those. There's been many times where I've wanted to like bow out, but then what comes up for me is like, okay, so when we're struggling with something, right? We know that that is exactly what's going to show up in the space. And so the fact that I'm struggling with managing just everything I have on my plate and like essentially just kind of like feeling like I'm splitting myself, right? Um between that and what I really want to do, like just that alone, I'm like, okay, that's going to show up in the space right now, right? It's going to show up in these phone calls that we're making, right? And it's going to show up in the women that show up in the room. And I want that. I want that to show up because what's coming up for me with grace is I don't want to split myself anymore. And I want us to talk about that. Like, I want these women to show up conflicted. I want them to show up and just be so open and raw about these are the struggles that I'm having in my life, because I want us to talk about these things because I want them to end. Like, being a woman, being a mom, being a daughter, a sister, like, you know, someone who has a career. It's just whatever it is, all these different aspects pull at us. And I want us to talk about what that's like. So I have stayed in the space because this is like to me, this is grace. Like, I think for so long, grace has been about, you know, how do I be more peaceful and accepting, and, you know, how do I feel lighter? Like, you just, I have thought of grace, and I've thought of grace being like, grace is elegant and grace is pretty and it's flowing, right? But I don't want to be that right now. Like, I want to be ugly and messy.
Yeah.
And like, I want to be just whatever I need to be, because that's what's showing up in my life. And I want us to have grace and to show grace for anyone who needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want us to look away anymore. And I don't want us to beat ourselves up because we think that this is just not how we should be, or this is just not how life should be, or where we want to be. Like, I just want us to get rid of all these constructs of should look like, should be like, and just be like, no, this is actually what it is like.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the real, like, disillusion is everything else that pretends like it's not.
Speechless.
That's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah. That's some commitment. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want all these women to show up wherever they're at. And I want it to be this.
Yeah.
And I want it to be raw.
Yeah.
And grace does not have to be joyful. And it doesn't have to be like, I you know, and I think this is something that comes up for me when it comes to like these workshops as well, is like, I think part of the reason why we do these workshops is because we're looking to get something out of the weekend, right? And I think it kind of goes back to like the control pain conversation of like, if I just do this, then maybe I will feel this, or I'll feel better, right? And it's like, but what if that's not the point?
Yeah.
Because then what happens, and I don't think we talk about this enough, is that we don't get what we tell ourselves we should get, and then we walk away feeling disappointed.
Yeah. Or like it wasn't worth it, or we didn't get anything from it.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's
then
not what we expected.
Exactly. And we start comparing our experiences. Yep. And it's like, maybe the workshop's supposed to be ugly, you know, and maybe what you're supposed to get out of it won't come until weeks later.
Yeah.
Or months later. Or maybe the reason you think you're showing up is not really that reason, and that reason gets cracked open and you're left in crisis mode. Like, I just want this.
You want the mask.
Yeah, I do.
You want the mask to come down.
I want all the masks to come down.
The mask of what people think transformation is, though.
What? Hold on. Oh, say that one more time, because I need to sit with that.
You want the mask of what people think transformation is and looks like to come down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Like, we've talked about the space, and I've been avoiding it, to be honest. And this is exactly why.
Yep.
This is exactly why. Like, it's people are in love with the mask of transformation. Like, oh, I did this. I did this thing. I'm better now. I'm this now. Or I did that. So, I'm good. It's like, oh, we haven't even cracked through the surface, and we don't even know what brought you here, or what are you actually going through, and what are you actually willing to let people see about you that you thought was so unworthy of being seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting with like the mask of transformation. Oh my God. Like, yes. And I'm so sick of us just wanting to like wash over the ugly.
I love the ugly.
And like, and it's like we just want to get to like what's the lesson and
avoid the pain.
Exactly. And it's like, no, I want us all to sit with the ugly pain right now until you want to stop squirming. That's my 2025. I love it. That's what my 2025 is going to be about.
Yeah.
Like, the next time someone asks me, what's my commitment? My commitment.
To see you squirm in pain until you don't squirm anymore.
My commitment is to tear down the mask of transformation. Wow. I didn't even know that.
Shit, me neither.
Oh, man. I just want people to get ugly and to be true.
Yeah.
Because... And I think part of this too is like, I see my kids getting older, and I feel like they're at an age I wish I could be again. But then at the same time, like I want to say I feel sorry for them, but I think that's not what I'm trying to say. Like,
you have compassion?
Yeah, I think it's more like compassion of like the age that they're at, but also this period of time that we're in. And I feel so much compassion for like, because so one's 19, one just turned 22. And those are like really pivotal times, where you're post high school, maybe you're in college, maybe not. But like you're in the middle of looking around you, and there's this narrative that you should be in this certain stage of life, right? Maybe you should be in college. I don't know. Maybe you should be in college and getting drunk with all the rest of the college kids at these frat parties and, sorority parties. And it's just this narrative of like, should I be there? And if I'm not, kind of having this like identity crisis of like, well, what am I doing with my life compared to this next person? And so I think I can see both of my kids in various ways in this phase of their life where they're trying to figure it out. They want to figure it out. And I don't want them to feel rushed. I don't want them getting stuck in the comparison game. And it's like, hey, maybe this time of your life is just supposed to be a little ugly because you're going from being an adolescent to a young adult, and it's supposed to be hard. And it's supposed to feel hard. And you're supposed to question a lot of things, and that's okay. And it is painful, and that is also okay. Like, I want us to talk about how life is painful, and that's actually normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. This is my first time even like voicing these things. I'm just like, this is what's coming up for me right now. So when you asked me earlier, like, how am I doing? I'm like, I don't know.
I know your response. I was just like, interesting.
I feel like I'm just in a cocoon. I'm in like this translucent
Hermit.
cocoon where I'm just like, I'm in a cocoon, but I can kind of see what's happening outside of me. Yeah.
That's good. You're going to be a butterfly on the end of it.
I know.
So my question for you, if this is what you're going through and what your intention is for Grace and 2025, are you being raw, real, ugly?
Yes and no, because you know how we talk about like there is no growth without betrayal, right? Rose says it all the time.
Yeah.
I feel that. And so like, okay, so in the space of, you know, this Grace staff, right? I know more than half of them. Well, actually, it's kind of funny because there's been some changing there. Like 2 people have had to drop. We've gotten a new person, but it's like these people know a certain version of me. And I'm not showing up as that version, and I don't want to. And I can feel it's resistance, but it's also like, what is wrong with Crystal? And it's like,
I know that feeling.
Crystal, and you know, this could be very much my own story, right? But like I can feel that I am betraying who they think I am. And there's been confrontation
with the other staff.
There's been breakdown, and I want it.
Yeah.
Like I want it. So, you know, it's so interesting because this is coming after, man, this is, oh God, okay. This is coming after my psychomagic act with my dad.
So you did it. We never touched base on that.
I know.
Wait, okay, backtrack. I need to hear about your psychomagic act.
Okay. So my psychomagic act.
Gosh, wait, hold on. I need to sit up.
I know. You know, it honestly wasn't super dramatic. So I went to the cemetery and I took a few items with me. I took a notebook and a pen. I took some lemon. I took like red food coloring, like icing.
Yeah.
And then I took honey.
Okay.
And I didn't really know what specifically I was going to do, but I'm like, these are definitely items I want to bring with me because of what they represent.
Yes.
So I found his grave.
You just touch base on what those things represent?
Yeah. So I brought the lemon to signify peeing on his grave. I brought the red to signify blood and like our blood connection, because this is my father and he's in my DNA, he's in my blood. And then I brought the honey for like the final part of the ceremony, right, to like symbolize just the purity and the love and the acknowledgement. So I started off with like just writing a letter and just, gosh, I'm trying to remember. I think in part of the letter, I just expressed things that I was mad at, right? Things that I can see now that I didn't see up until now. And like just kind of letting him know, like, these are all the things that I've had to experience in my life because you didn't do your job, because you weren't there to protect me. And whatever your reason is, it doesn't matter. But the fact is, you weren't there. And this is what I've been through. This is who I've had to become. And every time I felt those like angry emotions as I was writing this letter, I'd like squeeze the lemon on his grave of just like, you motherfucker, and like that's like that's my anger, and like that's me giving myself permission to be angry. And then I think in part of my letter, I think I might have said something around like not just who I'm tired of being, but like these are also the things I deserve. And I get like I deserve to be provided for. I deserve to be protected. I deserve to be cared for. I deserve to rest. And I think as like part of like the final act of the letter, like I also just gave acknowledgement of like, you are my father. I am your daughter. Regardless of what these past 41 years of my life have looked like. And then that's when I actually took like the blood, right? The icing that symbolized blood, and I like smeared it all over his name. And I just got my hand and like smeared it as just a way of like, no, like, like when you're younger, you cut yourself and you're like, we're going to make a pact.
Yeah.
You make like a blood pact.
Yeah, that's what you did.
That was like symbolizing blood pact, like taking my hand, smearing the red all over and like, no, like you are going to accept this because I accept this. And then I outlined his grave with honey. I think it's like just a peace offering. Yeah, like a peace offering of like, okay, I've said what I need to say, and this is how it is now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, oh man, oh my God. I think what I realized after the act was in acknowledging my dad and giving him that space back, like I acknowledged myself and like the pieces of myself, especially like the masculine pieces, right? Because and I think we talked about this in the Man Up Exposed, like grounding was like, I want to heal the judgments I have and the shame that I have around my masculine energy. And like it helped me do that because it's almost as if like I accepted my masculine energy. Like, no, I accept you. And I don't know if forgive you is the right word, but like I accept you and I also forgive you because you didn't know any better growing up. Like the masculine figure I had in my life was my grandmother, and it's kind of mind-boggling that after my psychomagic act with my dad, I went to go visit her in the hospital, and I also like said a little statement to her, even though she wasn't conscious because she was already in an induced coma, but just basically saying like, you are my grandmother and nothing more, nothing less. You are my grandmother. And it's just interesting to me that these two seem to coincide. And as Ro always said, there are no coincidences.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a lot to sit with.
Mm-hmm. I have chills all over my body right now, listening to you.
It gets crazier.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because my sister was going through a bunch of photos at my uncle's house, and she just kind of like, you know, she was telling me about the photos, right? There's a lot of her and I when we were little. And then she's like, and then there's just one photo with this guy, but we don't know who he is. And I was like, oh, well, you know, like I'll see it when I get there, right? Not really thinking a lot of it. As soon as I see the photo, I knew instantly who it was. It was my sister's dad, who she hasn't seen, I don't know, since she was a baby. Because, like, from what I remember, we were staying with my grandma at the time. Like, we were staying with my grandma and my uncle at the time. And him and my uncle didn't get along. Nobody was home but like me, maybe my sister and my uncle and her dad. They got into like a physical fight. My sister's dad left, never came back. That's what I remember. And when I told my sister, like, that's your dad, I think I think it like freaked her out.
Wow.
And I was like, yes, like the hair, the hairstyle. I was like, that's your dad. I was like, take that photo. Like, and I think that's the only photo she has of him.
Wow.
And I think that's the first time she ever even knew what he looked like.
First time she saw him.
Yes.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know. And then I said, ask mommy, but that's your dad.
Yeah.
And she did. She asked my mom when my mom came for the funeral, and my mom was like, yeah, that's your dad.
Wow.
And then,
okay.
my grandma is buried on the same burial plot. Well, not the same plot, but in the same area as my younger two siblings' dad. Because, and this is very weird, but my grandma bought like 5 plots like a long time ago. And one of them was intended to be for my mom. But when my younger two sisters, when their dad passed, the family had no money to bury him. So my mom gave up her plot. So he's buried like on a area that's intended for our family.
Wow.
Yeah. So I knew it would be really hard for the younger two going because their dad was literally like right next to the ceremony. And they were young when it happened. I know.
So all of your mom's partners, there was just no room in the system for them.
No.
And so there was only one option.
My grandma was the dad, the grandfather, everything.
Yeah. It's obviously not a coincidence that you are, coming to this point of like ready to accept your dad and give him his space back. And then
my grandma passes.
And your grandma passed. Like, she was like, okay, my job here is done. Yeah. Oh.
And I've been thinking a lot about that too lately, like just how heavy. And I mean, I don't even know if this is true, but just thinking of like how heavy my grandma's life was. And it makes me angry.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, that's been what I've been trying to sit with.
Yeah.
And so that's also why I've been in a lot of resistance to like just everything that's going on right now. Because like I just want to be with this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be with anything else.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Ooh, 2025. I'm just kidding.
Seriously.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, to just talk back about your grandma, right? You feel angry for how heavy her life was. Thinking of systemically speaking, like doing what you can so that your life isn't heavy.
Yeah.
Will probably make her very happy.
I never thought of that. I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. I do hope so. Thank you.
Yeah.
That thought literally never crossed my mind.
She probably loved you all so much.
She did.
Think you were probably her pride and joy, all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being raw, real, a little ugly.
Oh man. Whew. That was a lot.
But it's real.
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's painful sometimes, like you said. Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
And this is on What Lies Beneath.
Seriously. What lies beneath
What
Crystal's 2024 end? Dude, I love the name of this podcast, by the way.
Too.
Oh, man. I was going to take a picture. Where did I was at South Coast Botanical Garden yesterday. And I was walking the garden with my dog and my daughter. And there was like not a poster, but it's a garden and they have like a lot of like informational stuff, right? And they had this like big old informational thing, probably as big as this hutch right here. but the title of it is like What Lies Beneath.
Mm.
And I'm sure it was about soil and plants, but all I saw was What Lies Beneath. And I was like, oh man.
If that ain't confirmation, I don't know what is.
So much.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for 2025. I'm noticing, I think, just a shift in general with a lot of people about just authenticity.
Yes.
Authenticity. And I feel like, I don't know, this year is just gonna be crazy.
I know.
It's gonna be crazy for everyone. I can feel it. I can feel the energy shifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like 2024 was a big year for the collective. Like, seriously. And I feel like it's not done.
It's not. No.
So
We've only just started.
yes, it's like 2024 was like the beginning of demo season, and we're not done. I felt really good.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about. I used to be so scared of conversations like this. And not I did not know how to sit with people and not take on what they were going through.
Yeah.
I would put everyone's problems on my shoulders. But like, man, if my relationships don't have what we just had right now, I'm like, are we even really friends? Can I even call you a friend?
Yeah.
And that's just how it is now. That's just baseline for me.
I know. Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I actually think I even shared something like in my IG story about that. Like, I just saw something on IG that was like, yeah, if it's not a deep conversation, I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I just can't anymore.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up about like taking on people's emotions, because that's been coming up for me too. Like, in addition to removing the mask of transformation, the many, many masks, I think I'm really, truly beginning to understand what it means to be a phlegmatic and what it means to be a supporter. Like, I think it's a balanced one, I should say. Like, how many years have I been studying biotypes, and how many workshops have I been in? And I think it's like, I think I'm truly, truly starting to like understand. And like, one of the big shifts is not taking on people's emotions.
Yeah.
Like, I can be with them, I can be with you, and still let it be yours.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For both parties.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so one of the Grace staff members, I did play LP with her, and she's the only one that I really talked to, like kind of in the midst of the staff breakdown, because like, she was a safe space, and it's been beautiful to see her become that. But one of the things that she said, and I was like, I love that, is she said, whatever you need, like, I'm here. And she said something along the lines of like witnessing. And I love that way of phrasing, like, what does it mean to be a safe space? And like, I'm here to hold space for you. You know what? Most people I'm finding, especially in the space of transformation, don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
And I love the words of like, just witness, be a witness. That's so important. Like, be a witness to someone's experience. I feel like that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're there to see. You're there to, like, I guess almost kind of like acknowledge what happened, right? And that's it. Just see. And then it happened. And how much validation, and like not in like the negative context either of that word, but it's like, what a beautiful thing to just witness someone's experience as it is. Don't change it. Don't alter it. Don't influence. Shut the fuck up and witness.
Yeah.
Which really gives me a lot of insight into like, what does it mean to listen? It means to shut the fuck up and listen. Like, say nothing. Say nothing. Do nothing.
Yeah.
Just watch.
Yeah.
And how uncomfortable that is for people.
Yeah.
To just watch.
Yeah. Well, I think it ties back to avoiding pain.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do we want to avoid our pain, we want people to avoid pain, other people to avoid pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, you're in pain, like let me go into fix it mode, or let me,
Mm-hmm.
do what I can to make it stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't want to see any part of it.
Yeah. That sucks.
It does suck. There's so much beauty in going into the depths of your pain. And that's where the most growth I've had has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how it's always going to be.
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be that way. But the most substantial growth for me has been through the pain that I've gone through.
Yeah.
And like learning how to sit with it and accept it, and maybe even change my perspective on it.
Yeah.
And then through a different lens, use that to operate through the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, you just described the whole BYB journey.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
I mean, that's it right there.
Pretty much. And like applying that to all areas of my life.
Yeah.
Like my insecurities. Oh my gosh, that's been coming up so much for me lately. And I went on a date. I went on a date and I was so insecure about myself.
When did you go on a date?
On Friday.
Oh.
Yeah.
With who?
Someone I met through mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
I did lurk him on Instagram. I think that was my first mistake.
I mean, we all do it though. Okay.
I know. And he's a very, very fit person.
Okay. So are you.
But that's the thing. I haven't been doing what I normally have been doing.
Okay.
And for a majority of the year, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to find my own way to work out. And it's not going to be because I want to look a certain way. It's going to be because I enjoy it or because it makes me feel good. So it just hasn't been a priority lately. But, you know, going on a date with someone who very much cares about their own physical appearance. Obviously, that's like not to say that he necessarily cares about mine per se, but like my insecurities immediately were like, you're not in shape enough. And that's been a thing for me, which is why I used to care so much about how, you know, how I looked and like working out. So it just kind of brought everything back. And just like letting myself sit with that and not reacting on it or like making it define the situation. Like, because I haven't texted him, he hasn't texted me post date.
Okay.
And, you know, there's other reasons too that I haven't texted him.
Which are?
He just got out of a relationship. He was in a very, very serious relationship for a very long time.
Like how serious?
Like engaged.
Oh, when did he get out of it?
6 weeks ago.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, that sucks. That's
so, you know, like there's a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
So when like the thought of like, oh, maybe because I'm not in shape enough, I'm like, okay, come on, you're being a little that's a little ridiculous to think that. Not ridiculous to think that, but like,
yeah.
Why is my brain going to that, you know? But that's, I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm just kind of learning it, like, and unpacking, like, why am I even thinking that?
Yeah.
Well, from a young age, blah, 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 like, all these things that happened, and and just sitting with that. And also sitting with, like, just what the situation is. Like, he hasn't texted me.
Yeah. And your brain is telling you.
My brain's telling me all these reasons why, making a logical explanation for why. And it's like, no, just sit with the pain that he hasn't texted you. Like, ouch. Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. And also, he could be sitting with his own pain.
He definitely is. We talked about it.
I mean,
like 6 weeks is not a long amount of time. So, yeah, there's a lot of different factors.
Curious what he said about that.
So I was like, so what are you looking for when it comes to dating?
Oh, I love that question.
And he was like, oh, we talk about stuff like this on a first date? And I was like, why
we do
not?
now.
I was like, yeah, that's very normal. Like, I'm dating with intention.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I was, didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
And then he was like, I was in a very long relationship. I think he said like 10 years or 9 years or something like that.
Whoa. Okay. That's significant.
Yes. And he was like, yeah, we were engaged.
Okay.
And he told me the reason why they broke up.
Okay.
She cheated on him.
Okay.
And I don't remember how. I don't know if I asked him like how long ago or if he just like was like, I'm just going to lay everything out on the table because I'm being honest, and just told me it was 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
But yeah.
I heard something recently and I was like, that's very interesting. And I think it's kind of true. I heard someone say, and I'm listening to so many podcasts and so many like this and that. I don't even know where I heard it from. But it could even been a book. I don't know. But it said, the things that we choose to focus on are the things that we actually struggle with the most. So like, for example, right? Someone who is like in the health industry, for example, or the fitness industry, right? right? And they're experts, or maybe they're coaches, or they've built a whole business around it. The things that we choose to focus on are the things we actually struggle with the most. That actually really lands.
Mm-hmm.
So if this guy is super, super fit, and that, like, that has become a way of him having some form of control over his health. Okay, so I'll use myself as an example, right? Like, people on the outside who don't know me very well, right, will see that I love to run, I go to the gym regularly, Crystal's on beast mode, right? I'm super fit, but I struggle with my fitness. I struggle with trying to be healthy because I have a lot of, like, stories around my own body and my body image and all of the promises that I've told myself around, well, if I just have this level of fitness or have this look, physique, then, I will feel good enough, or I won't feel this way or that way, right? But people don't see that on the outside. And it's like, it made me even think of, like, coaching and, like, therapists and psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
You think they have their life figured out? No, they do not. They're just very broken people, myself included, who are trying not to be broken and want to help other people so they don't feel or experience or have the support to go through what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just trying to heal ourselves through whatever it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
So when I look, so it's kind of changed how I look at people now, because, like, when I look at someone who's, like, in the gym, extremely physical fit, because I will do the same, I will automatically be like, I am not that. And when that person looks at me, they probably can tell that my BMI is too high and they're judging my belly fat or whatever it is. But it's completely made me, instead of focusing on what I think this person might be judging about me, I think that person is actually they're too busy judging themselves.
Yeah.
And that's their way around it. That's their way to cope with it. That's their way to deal. And it makes a lot of sense that someone who is hypercritical of themselves but looks perfect to the outside world, it makes sense that he would end up with a partner who would then cheat on him. Because it made me think about, it actually made
Can
me
you say that one more time?
Yeah.
Someone who's hypercritical of themselves
and looks perfect to the outside world, it makes total sense that he would be with someone who would cheat on him. And I say that because okay, this is me kind of talking this out for the first time. Like, it's interesting because I think that when we think about people who have been cheated on and people who have done the cheating, you can, like, usually the people who have been cheated on, people around them don't get it. And they'll be like, what were they thinking? Like, you're such a good partner. You're such a good wife. You're such a good girlfriend. You do everything, right? Like, that person is stupid. And then the person who usually does the cheating, it's usually, I don't want to say it's not a surprise, but there usually is some perception, even though nobody will probably admit it, of like, yeah, they're the lesser half. And it's like, but we know what that's covering, right? Someone who looks like the perfect partner, we know what they're hiding. They're hiding something around, I must be this way to be lovable. But then we know what that creates in someone else, because then we don't know how to be taken care of. We don't know how to ask for support, right? We're the overgivers in the relationship.
Yeah.
And what does that attract? That attracts people who have some core belief around, I am not good enough. Nothing I can do will ever be good enough.
Yes.
So let me validate that trauma with someone who truly needs nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's how they live their life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is like, I know too many situations that this is like,
Dude, every situation.
smack dab, like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Winner.
So that's why I say, like,
Yeah.
it actually makes sense that this guy would attract someone
Yeah.
who would do that. And there's got to be something deep down that's like, I'm not good enough. Because I mean, I don't know anything else about the guy, but I'm going to guess that he may be a good provider. Maybe he is successful. I don't know. Because who else would trigger you and make you not feel good enough?
Are you asking me personally?
Yeah. Like, I think people like me, you, and
Yeah.
even this guy, at least I can say, I know I will struggle with being with someone who's strong.
Yeah.
And
I'm usually on the other end.
because that's how we stay in control.
Yes.
And then we get cheated on.
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm like, this is spot on.
I have learned.
I've been, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for
I
it.
have been the person that didn't need anything and over provided.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
yeah.
And I think you and I will actually struggle with being with someone who isn't equal.
Yeah.
And like we actually deserve to be with.
Yeah. Why is this so challenging? Okay. Yeah, to start out with, first of all, up until now, I have only dated people that
We know people look at us and are like, yeah, he won the jackpot.
yeah, and I hate to say that, but and it wasn't conscious.
True.
It wasn't a conscious thing. I've only recognized that
Mm-hmm.
now. And so when I went on this date, I was like, holy shit, I'm actually fucking nervous. It's like I'm actually nervous to go on this date right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I've ever, well, maybe my first boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
the first time we were friends to start out, but when we first started
Mhm.
dating, I was nervous with him. But I don't think I've ever been nervous to go on a date with someone until Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you just shared that with him And I don't even know. I don't even know if that's like the right answer.
What am I sharing?
Like, what if you just shared that with him of like, you make me nervous. Or maybe not you make me nervous, but like, I feel really nervous when I'm around you, and this is why.
I could.
Because I guarantee you, like, he probably feels the same way. I promise you.
My brain is like,
I
Crystal's lying to you. But I'm going to
No.
listen. I'm going to listen.
No, I don't
My
think.
ego's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dating is fun.
Is he very masculine?
Yes.
Ooh.
Very.
You have
Very
a picture?
masculine. I can pull up his Instagram.
do. I want to see it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. And you know what? You know what's interesting is that like when I see guys like this, like I don't even judge them. I just automatically think to myself like, yeah, no. Like that guy's not going to be into me. I'm too fat. That's me though.
It's funny because
Wow.
it's when we met, I didn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm. He's very good looking.
And I was, yes, he is. And I
Just
was,
FYI, people.
I can confirm. And it wasn't until I freaking looked at his Instagram that I was like, oh my God, there's no way he'd be into me. But then I was like, no, Joe, you're a catch. You're great. You're beautiful. And not only that, you are a very soft, feminine, supporting woman who's back in her water and would like to share that with someone.
Yes. My first thought is like, I think I was right when I said, you know, like someone who has these kinds of results.
Well, one choleric.
I mean, I promise you there's something on the other side of that of like, maybe he also doesn't feel good enough, right? But we don't look at someone and think like that. At least not majority people, right? Yeah. But it's like, show me your mask and I'll show you what's behind it, right? And you would absolutely be the safe space or the type of space that could bring out like true vulnerability. The question is, well, I shouldn't say is he ready for that, because I don't think any of us are ready for that.
Ready.
You know,
to be honest, I don't know if I'll ever be, but I'm gonna do it.
But you would be a great counterpart if he's ready to go there.
Way to feed my delusions, Crystal.
Huh?
I said, way to feed my delusions.
They're not delusions. They're not delusions.
Ugh.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. If someone set me up on a date like that, oh my God.
Oh, Jesus. Lord. Lordy.
We're going to edit this out.
All of it?
But no, just what I'm about to say right now.
What you're about to say.
11.
What Crystal is about to say is not valid for our podcast.
It's not going to be for you. Yeah. How was the friendship to begin with?
It is very surface level. And the only time it started to not be was when all of the issues came popping up with her relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, considering her situation and what we were just talking about and the mask that someone would put on
Mm-hmm.
to be and look and have a perfect life, I can't say for sure because we haven't talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
but like, you know, kind of fits.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm realizing a lot about my friendships, especially after doing all of this work.
Yeah.
And it was so apparent in Mexico.
Oh, yes.
It was so apparent in Mexico. Yeah, just the topic of conversation and the
Mhm.
perspective that these women would have on dating,
Mhm.
men, their lives. I just don't relate anymore. I don't. I can't. And it's interesting to be in that, knowing that, holy shit, a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have been right there with them.
Yeah.
Saying the same things, talking about the same situations.
I hear you.
And yeah, it's, yeah. So to go back to the original question, I
Mhm.
honestly don't really know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of figuring that out as I'm figuring out everything else
Mm.
and all my other
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Where will the relationship go if you do get really raw with her? And this is where I feel like friendships also have traumatic compatibility.
Yeah.
And in the same way that we just use romantic relationships to be right about our beliefs, even though we don't know it, I feel like we have friendships like that
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And so we choose friends that we can play out these beliefs with.
Absolutely.
And so I wonder if, because I can think of a lot of female friendships like this, where like it's almost like a kind of like a love-hate relationship where it's like being friends with these people in a way kind of boosts our ego a little bit, but at the same time it also plays on our insecurities.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she is using you to be right about her insecurities and that she can't trust women.
I don't like that.
I know. I feel like it kind of brings up for me of like the shift I want to see like within female friendships. Like I want to see female friendships get ugly too. Right? Like I want friends that I can have hard conversations with.
Yeah.
Because they're just like relationships.
They are.
They are.
They are
they're
real.
really no different.
They're real. I always say that my best friend is like almost like my, not codependent or anything, but she's like my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like the conversations we have, the things that we like provide for each other, support, like love, affection.
Yeah.
It's like a partnership, and it is.
It is. It so is. And I feel like I can see this a lot. And like even speaking of my own friendships where it's like we invest in them up until a point. It's like everything is like up until a point, and then they disappoint us in some way, and then we say, I'm done with you.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like, this hurts me, and I want to talk about this with you because I value this friendship or this relationship.
Yeah. And like you said, it's an invitation.
And it's an invitation.
Will things change? Will they change?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since I started my journey, all I want to do is communicate with people how I'm feeling. And it has pushed people away. Definitely. And I think that's a main reason why, like, one of these friendships that I'm talking about has gotten weird. Because I'm like, hey, let's deepen this relationship. And if someone's not able to go deep or doesn't want to or is scared or has that fear of it, they're not going to want to go there with you. So, yeah.
And like, I feel like that's another unmasking of like, friendships are ugly sometimes too.
Oh, yeah.
And they're painful. And that is okay. How else is it going to grow?
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And I think I did talk to you about this. It's like, I was even debating, like, do I even be friends with these people anymore? I could just walk away. And then I'm like, well, if I did that, I would be playing out every other friendship that I was just like, it's easier to just walk away.
Same.
I'm just going to close the door and walk away. And it's like, that's not the type of person I want to be anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not going to bring in the type of relationships that I want. Whether it's with this person or not, that's not how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
So, conversations need to be had.
Yes.
Scary ones.
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
You made me think of something too, of like, I've even walked away from friendships because they remind me of a version of myself I don't want to remember. And it's like, I don't want to be reminded of those things, and being with you reminds me. And it's kind of sucks because it's not even about the person.
It's about you.
Yeah. Ouch.
Oh, jeez.
I think I just poked something.
Where's the honey at? Just fill it with some honey.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep. Gonna talk about lots of uncomfortable things.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh, man. Is that a pause?
Should we call it? Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. That was like